Imagine this. Over 500,000 men, a sea of bayonets, cannons roaring like thunder, and the fate of Europe hanging in the balance. This isn't a scene from a fantasy epic. This was the reality of the Battle of Leipzig in October 1813. It wasn't just a battle. It was the battle of the nations, the largest and deadliest clash of the entire Napoleonic Wars, and the moment the world began to truly turn against Napoleon Bonaparte. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're marching back in time to one of the most pivotal and colossal confrontations in military history. Forget what you think you know about Napoleon's downfall. While Waterloo gets all the fame, it was here in the muddy fields around Leipzig that the foundation of his empire truly cracked. So, grab your shako, prime your musket, and let's dive into the 4 days of chaos that changed the world forever. To understand why this battle was so monumental, we need to set the stage. A year earlier, in 1812, Napoleon had suffered his disastrous invasion of Russia. His Grande Armée, once the most feared military force in Europe, was shattered, frozen, and starved on the long retreat from Moscow. This catastrophic failure was like blood in the water. The sharks, the other great powers of Europe, began to circle. Prussia, which had been humiliated by Napoleon years earlier, switched sides and allied with Russia. Soon, Austria and Sweden joined them, forming the Sixth Coalition. For the first time, all the major continental powers were united against one man. They were tired of French domination, tired of constant warfare, and they were determined to finish Napoleon once and for all. But Napoleon was a master of improvisation. Incredibly, by the spring of 1813, he had raised a new army, mostly of young, inexperienced conscripts, but an army nonetheless. He even won a couple of smaller victories, showing that the old lion still had claws. However, his new army lacked cavalry and experienced officers, weaknesses that would prove fatal. After a brief summer truce, both sides prepared for a final, decisive showdown. And the chosen ground was the network of rivers, villages, and plains surrounding the city of Leipzig, in modern-day Germany. As autumn leaves began to fall in October 1813, the armies converged. On one side, Napoleon had around 225,000 French soldiers and their allies from Poland, Italy, and the German Confederation of the Rhine. On the other, the Sixth Coalition amassed a gargantuan force of over 380,000 Russians, Prussians, Austrians, and Swedes, and it was a staggering assembly of military might, a true battle of the nations, with soldiers from almost every corner of Europe present on the field. The coalition's plan, known as the Trachenberg Plan, was simple but brilliant. Avoid direct battle with Napoleon himself, but attack his marshals wherever they could be found. They would use their superior numbers to surround him, wear him down, and crush him under their collective weight. Napoleon, ever the aggressor, wanted to do the opposite. Use his central position at Leipzig to defeat the Allied armies one by one before they could fully unite. It was a race against time. The battle officially began on October 16th. The main fighting erupted south of Leipzig. Imagine tens of thousands of men clashing in and around small villages like Wachau and Markkleeberg. The French, despite being outnumbered in this southern sector, fought with incredible ferocity. Napoleon himself was on the field, directing cannonades and launching massive infantry assaults. At one point, a huge French cavalry charge led by Marshal Murat, Napoleon's flamboyant brother-in-law, broke through the Allied center. It was a heart-stopping moment. The Allied monarchs, the Tsar of Russia and the King of Prussia, were nearly captured. Only a desperate countercharge by the Russian Imperial Guard cavalry and the timely arrival of Austrian reserves saved the day for the coalition. By the end of the first day, the battlefield was a horrifying landscape of death and destruction. Thousands had fallen on both sides, but nothing was decided. The lines had buckled and bent, but they had not broken. Napoleon had failed to land his decisive blow, and with every passing hour, more and more Allied reinforcements were marching towards Leipzig. The numerical odds were tipping ever more disastrously against him. The 17th of October was an eerie. His precarious position actually sent a proposal for an armistice. But the Allies, smelling victory, and with their numerical advantage growing by the minute, ignored it. The net was closing. For the French soldiers, a sense of dread must have been creeping in. They had fought heroically, but as they looked out from their positions, they could see the campfires of new enemy armies appearing on the horizon, encircling them completely. October 18th was the day the world came crashing down on Napoleon. The coalition launched a massive, all-out assault from all directions. The fighting was even more intense than on the 16th. To the north, Prussian General Blucher's forces relentlessly attacked. To the south and east, the main Austrian and Russian armies pushed forward. The battle degenerated into a brutal, village-by-village slugfest. Then came the turning point that was both militarily and symbolically devastating. Napoleon's German allies from Saxony, who were positioned in the French center, suddenly switched sides in the middle of the fighting. They turned their guns on their former comrades and joined the coalition assault. It was the ultimate betrayal. The gap they left in the French line was nearly fatal, and it was a clear sign that Napoleon's hold over Germany was completely broken. Fighting with the desperation of cornered animals, the French Imperial Guard, Napoleon's elite veterans, managed to plug the gaps and hold the line. But it was a temporary fix. By nightfall, Napoleon knew it was over. He had lost the battle. The only thing left to do was to try and save what was left of his army. He ordered a general retreat west, back towards France. The retreat, which began on the night of the 18th and continued into the 19th, was a disaster. The only escape route was a single bridge over the Elster River. Chaos ensued as the entire French army tried to funnel through this one choke point, all while being harassed by the advancing Allies. Then came the final catastrophe. The corporal in charge of demolishing the bridge after the army had crossed panicked. Seeing what he thought were Allied soldiers approaching, he lit the fuse too early. The bridge exploded, trapping nearly 30,000 French soldiers, the entire rear guard, on the wrong side of the river. Some tried to swim across, and many, including the heroic Polish Marshal Poniatowski, drowned in the attempt. Thousands of others were forced to surrender. It was a heartbreaking and humiliating end to a brutal battle. The aftermath was apocalyptic. The Battle of Leipzig resulted in over 100,000 casualties combined. The fields and villages around the city were littered with the dead and dying. For Napoleon, it was a crippling blow. He had lost not just the battle, but also his entire empire in Germany. His remaining German allies deserted him, and the path to France was now open for the coalition armies. The defeat at Leipzig directly led to the invasion of France in 1814 and Napoleon's first abdication and exile to Elba. While he would famously return for the 100 Days, he would never again command an army of the size or scale he had at Leipzig. The magic was gone. The Battle of the Nations had proven that Napoleon, the supposed master of war, could be beaten by sheer numbers and a united will. So, while Waterloo is the name everyone remembers, it was at Leipzig that the Napoleonic dream truly died. It was a battle of unprecedented scale, a bloody turning point that ended French dominance in Europe and redrew the map for a generation. It stands as a terrifying testament to the human cost of ambition and a powerful reminder that even the greatest titans of history can be brought down. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to 1813. If you found this dive into the Battle of the Nations interesting, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the pivotal moments that shaped our world. Let me know in the comments what other battles you'd like to see covered. Until next time, stay curious.